Welcome to our week one overview. First question we want to ask you is, what's your definition of business? Not the book definition, but what do you think it means? Okay, now that you've had a chance to think about it, business basically is an exchange of money, goods, or services for money, goods, or services. Business takes many forms. So just because you're paying money to somebody, that's a business. If you exchange a good for a service, that's business. So there's all kinds of businesses out there. We're going to focus in on really what's going on in the United States. We'll even take a look at what's going on globally. I've got a pretty good example to share with you at the end of the content review. So what drives business? Real simple, money. Show me the money. Businesses have to make a profit or they won't be in business. Now, just to get off track just for a second, you hear this term nonprofit. That doesn't mean that a company doesn't make any money. When you hear that term nonprofit, that means something related to tax structure. So don't let that term nonprofit fool you, meaning that, hey, this business isn't making any money. All businesses have to make money. The old saying goes, everybody can lose money up to a point. So all businesses have to make money or they will be out of business. Now, what's the foundation for a business? Well, besides the goods and services and products that they provide, how are they going to get that done? You got to have labor. And when we talk about labor, we're going to throw our equipment in there too. Labor, machinery, all that good stuff. But you have to have people, if you're a manufacturing plant, you have to have people that can work in that plant and process and manufacture and make those goods. If you're a service industry, let's say you got a lawnmower cutting or a grass cutting business, you got to have people to go out and do it. So labor is a big foundation of business. What else do you have to have? You have to have capital. Now, capital and profits aren't the same thing. You have to have capital, meaning you have to have money. You have to pay your vendors. You have to pay your suppliers. You have to pay that labor. You've also got other things that you have to pay. So you have to have money or slash capital on hand in order to generate goods, products, and services from your business so you can make profits. All right, now, you're all familiar with businesses, local businesses, national businesses, international businesses. But one area that's going to surface in your content for this week is what we call the entrepreneur. Okay? That's the guy or gal that steps out on their own. All right? They say, hey, I'm going to put my hard-earned money right out there, and I'm going to make a go of this particular business. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to borrow money, doesn't mean that they may not try and get stockholders to invest, but they're putting their name on the line. They are going to say, hey, I am going to take charge of this and make this happen. Now, regardless of you if you're an entrepreneur, or you are a corporation, or you are a small business that somebody's backed, you have to have a couple of things. We call those resources. You have to have manpower. You have to have processes. You have to have processes in order to get that good product or service to marketplace. Okay? You've got to have machinery, right? You've got to have a bank in place to get money. You've got to have a lawyer, okay? You've got to have an accounting firm. These are all things that behind the scenes support your business because your business is based on two things. All right, I'm going to give you just a second to think about that. Your business is based on two things. What do you think they are? We're going to call that supply and demand. Okay? You can have the greatest business known, but if nobody wants your good product or service, you're not going to be able to make those profits. You're not going to be able to pay that labor. You're not going to be able to pay those resources. So it's all based off of supply and demand. Okay? The more people want it, the more that we have to be able to supply it as a business. Now, what else does that affect? That will affect pricing. If something is in high demand and there's a low supply for it, guess what? They're going to charge more, right? If something is in low demand and there's a high supply of it, they're going to charge less. Perfect example is gasoline. Think about this. If you live by a gas station, you get up, you go to work in the morning, gas is $3 a gallon, right? You come home that night, gas is still $3 a gallon. You wake up the next morning, drive past it, gas is $3.25 a gallon. And you're thinking, how in the heck did that gas overnight go from $3 to $3.25? Well, it's supply and demand. The gas didn't change. What changed was the demand for that particular product. And when we get there, what happens? That drives your profits. Profits, we said, you have to have because you got to make money. So as you think in terms of this all is what we call the business cycle. Okay, there's ups and downs. It's not a perfect world. Business cycle can be affected by many things. Weather, holidays, the economy, and the big one that we'll talk about now, competition. Very rarely can you think of a business that doesn't have any competition. Excluding regulated utilities, I venture to say you can't give me a business that doesn't have competition. And if somebody tells you, hey, my business doesn't have any competition, run away. Run away fast, because they don't have a good grasp on what's going on with the business world. Now, we've all talked about the good stuff. What's some things that can affect business in a negative way? Well, the first thing is unemployment. If we don't have workers that can use our resources to prepare our products, goods, and services so we can make money, we got a problem. We got a big problem, okay? We're not going to be able to do it. So unemployment is a big factor in all businesses, okay? What's the next thing? Let's kind of jump into a national level now. We call that a recession. A recession is a downturn of all business because of things like the economy, okay? What else is going on all around the world? Think back into terms of when there's major life-changing events that happen in the world, it can push you down into a recession. All right. The next thing is the big nasty. Okay. The big nasty is what we call the depression. The depression happens when a recession is prolonged. Okay. And, you know, in our lifetime, we haven't been involved in a depression, and hopefully we won't be involved in a depression. But a depression, what it sounds like is what it is. All of the products, goods, and services have plummeted in value. The supply doesn't matter what the supply is because the demand is not there. Consumers aren't spending any money. They're not spending any money because the unemployment rate is high and they can't get a job because businesses don't have money to pay for resources. So hopefully you can see how all of this ties together. So we talk about business, we talk about business cycle, we talk about profit, we talk about competition. How about a real world example of a product that is varied in price because of the supply, the location, and the demand? So let's use our friend, the Big Mac. Okay, the average price in the United States of a Big Mac is $5.04. Okay, if you go up north into Canada, up there, $4.60. If you want to take a little trip down to Mexico, $2.37 for that Big Mac. And if you really want to save money, remember, $5.04 in the United States, if you really want to save money because you've got a Jones for a Big Mac, let's go to Russia, $2.05. Okay? Now, a Big Mac is a Big Mac is a Big Mac. I've given you an example of what's going on around the world. Hopefully that'll put in perspective when you think about supply, demand, competition, and the way that businesses make money. Okay, that's going to do it for week one. Have a great week. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, or give me a call. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.